everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new, hi, I'm Jeanette from Boricua Sewing and Crafts. In this video, one of the things that I want to do is I want to talk to you guys about organizing your embroidery files. That is something that I get questioned a lot from a lot of viewers. They ask me, how do I organize the embroidery files? And I totally understand. Once you get into embroidery, what ends up happening is you start buying all these different files. And before you know it, you're downloading a whole bunch of files in your download folders of your Mac or your Windows or whatever folder you're using. And then you end up with a whole mess. And you're like thinking to yourself, how can you better organize it so that when you need a file, you can better find it? So one of the things that I want to do is I want to share some little tricks with you guys on how you can figure out how to better organize your files. Okay. Now, one of the things that you should think about is when you are buying your embroidery files. When you buy your embroidery files, what you're usually doing is you're going to an embroidery website. And what ends up happening is you're looking for the files on their website. Now, my whole thing about that is you shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. Really think about it. When you go visit those embroidery websites, they already have the categories already figured out, right? So let's take a look at some of them so that I show you what I'm actually talking about, okay? So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up one of the sites that I usually use in order to purchase embroidery styles. Now take a look over here, and as you can see, look at Creative Appliques. This is a place where I actually go and I sometimes like to buy embroidery. So let's look under their section where it says embroidery on here, okay? I'm going to click on this, and as you can already see, they have categories already listed on their site, okay? Now they have animals, they have awareness and stuff, and my machine is jumping up a bit. I'm really sorry. But they also have other categories as well. Look, they have fonts and stuff. They have applique fonts. They have zigzag fonts, embossed fonts and stuff. So the way I see it is, one of the best things that I would do is if I was trying to organize it, is try to look at the categories that some of these websites already have out there. You could use the same name. If you have a bunch of different types of fonts, then do a folder that's called fonts. And then what you can do is name the file as the name of the font. That way, whenever you're looking for fonts and stuff, you just go to your fonts folder. Very easy to organize and stuff. So, and they also have different appliques. You can do full embroidery. You can go ahead and you can categorize it on birthdays or holidays, whether it's fall, Christmas, Valentine's, birthday shirts, birthday designs and stuff. Just think about the different types of folders that you would probably use to help find embroidery files a lot easier, okay? So that's one method that I usually tell people that it's kind of like a really good, neat way for you to go ahead and organize your files. Now, how does Jeanette organize her files? Okay, well, let me tell you how I do it. And I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you exactly how I do my files. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to share a window and let's go and take a look at my little area right here. Okay, here you go. Here is my docs. Okay, let's make this smaller so that way you guys can see. And it looks like my machine is running just a little bit slow, so sorry about that. All right, so going out to my documents, and as you can see, it seems to be pretty kind of clear, right? Kind of clean and kind of small. What it is I usually use main folders. Now, here is where I keep all of my business receipts, right? So whenever I buy something, I always take pictures of it and I always like download receipts and stuff like that. And this is usually corresponding to the year when I actually buy the product. So never mind that though, but we want to talk about our embroidery files, okay? So here on the next folder, right at the bottom, you see it's called Business Embroidery Files. Now, I usually buy all of my embroidery files for my business. I really don't buy them for personal use and stuff like that. So I usually have them all down here. And as you can see, I have little categorized. I have everything categorized and stuff. Now, the way that I usually do things is I actually file my embroidery files in categories of how I actually use the files. And I make a lot of my own embroidery files because I like to usually take different types of designs and merge them and make kind of custom embroidery files for me to do, you know, my products on. So usually what I'll do is I'll, you know, have categories like adult birthday shirts, right? So like when I make birthday shirts for my mom and my aunt and everybody else in the family, whenever, you know, this is usually where I keep all of the files. That way I can reuse them if some case someone wants to buy a birthday shirt. Okay. Then right here, I also have African American designs, okay, where I do my baby blankets. Whenever I make new baby blankets, I do them. Birth templates, okay, sometimes I have a bunch of birth templates and stuff. Butterfly designs for the cigar clubs, company logos, which is usually you know, designs from companies that I work with, and also customer designs. There are a lot of times when a customer will come to me and they want something digitized or something like that. Well, usually this is where I put it in. A lot of times what I'll do is I will actually make a folder on the customer's name, and then what I will do is I will put their designs all underneath their folder. So that way, you know, if the customer comes back and needs to be able to, you know, get something redone, I easily have the files. I know exactly where to find them and stuff like that. So very easy. My dinner napkin, you know, designs for the wine club that I belong to, all my BX font files, the golf towels that I make, in the hoop designs, all the kids designs, the kitchen designs that I make. So that's usually how I organize all of my embroidery files. So, you know, it's not really kind of difficult to do. However, though, and I'm going to get out of here, one of the things that I advise is when you are trying to organize your embroidery files, you want to make sure that you create a system where you kind of understand it. So that way, whenever you need to look for a particular design, you know exactly what folder to look under. Now, another thing also is people usually say when I buy embroidery designs and I download them, I usually don't, you know, the name isn't really like what is the design. Okay, for example, once I bought a butterfly design off of Etsy. When I downloaded the file, what ended up happening was the file name was like just a bunch of numbers and a bunch of letters. Well, of course, looking at that file name and my computer isn't really going to help me identify that that actual file is a butterfly. So in those situations, what you usually do is you would just rename that file. You know, don't mess with the format of the file, the extension. Okay, you need it to stay PES or DST or whatever embroidery file you buy, but you want to leave the extension, but what you want to do is just rename the front part of the file to be more descriptive. So that way, when you're in the folder and you're looking for a particular file, you know exactly what it is. Okay. And then you'll be able to find it more quickly. Okay. Now, the other thing that I highly, highly, highly recommend is I know that when you go and you buy your embroidery files and you download them, right away, as soon as you download them, get into the habit of actually moving those folders in the proper place. That way you have all of your files always nicely organized, because what will happen is if you just download them and you say, okay, I'll file it later, what will probably happen is the later is going to become more later, 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 later. And before you know it, you have all these files that need to be reorganized, and it can be kind of overwhelming and it can be a really daunting task. Okay. So, another thing that I want to leave you guys with also is if you don't have Get an external hard drive. These are true lifesavers, okay? Even though you have all your files on your computer, if something, God forbid, happens to your computer, or you have to replace your computer or something like that, you don't want to lose all those files. Remember, every file that you bought costs money. And if you were to add up all the costs of all those embroidery files that you're going to be buying over time, it's going to be worth a lot. So the last thing you want to do is to lose those files, okay? I know that you can sometimes go back to some of the websites and you can download them, but sometimes you don't know if those websites will go out of business and then you can't get access to those files. You can also forget, because sometimes I know me myself, I sometimes go to some embroidery websites, and then what ends up happening is it's just I bought one file and then I'll forget that that website even existed. Sometimes it's kind of difficult to remember where you actually bought the file from if you ever need it again. Another good thing about also having an external hard drive is, let's say, like with me, I have an iMac in my craft room. Okay. However, though, sometimes I do go and meet customers with my MacBook, and I don't sometimes have all of my designs that I have installed on my iMac on my MacBook. So when I meet with a customer, and sometimes the customer is looking for a particular design, sometimes I don't, I won't have everything loaded on the MacBook. However, though, when I do meet with the customers, one of the things that I do is I grab this. And what I'll do is I'll hook it up to my MacBook, and I can search the external hard drive for a copy of that design so that I can show the customer. So it's actually pretty neat, because not only do you have, can this serve as like a backup of all of your embroidery files, but it can also be a way for you to transport all of your embroidery files with you when you're traveling with a laptop. And also think about this. I don't really want to copy every single embroidery file that I have on my iMac over to my MacBook. That takes up a lot of space. So what I want to do is I just want to be as efficient as possible. So I feel that this really does fit the bill for me. So anyway, guys, just wanted to do a really quick video and talk to you guys about organizing your embroidery files. I hope this video was pretty helpful. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, and join me on Fridays. I do Happy Embroidery Hour every Friday at 8 o'clock. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have fun, happy sewing and embroidery. Bye.